Normally I would do a roadmap video each month for Train Sim World, but this month it was really an underwhelming roadmap, if I'm honest. Stuff that we already knew about, wasn't really any new detail in there, and other things have just been pushed back. So I won't waste your time. You can see in front of you now what's on the roadmap, when's coming, what information we have about it, and I think we'll leave it there. But we will focus on two really important announcements. But by the way, welcome to this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please consider hitting that like button and also subscribing. The first of those big announcements is the Suffragette line, or better known as the Goblin line. We now know it is arriving on 19th of March. Yes, it's finally here. It's been teased since Christmas, so I'm glad it's here 3 months later. It's one that I'm quite looking forward to. It's a slightly shorter route than we normally get. It's just 13 miles long, but it is very much a commuter route, so there'll be lots of stops away, 13 to be exact. You should see the route map in front of you now, so you can see we start off in Gospel Oak and end all the way up at Barking Riverside. So yeah, pretty decent route. It's got lots of things cross it, like lots of routes crossing across it. So we'll come on to a little bit more of that later on. But yeah, it's one that so far looks very, very nice. Let's talk about the name of this route. When we first got teased the route, it was always better known as the Goblin line. But Transport for London have recently renamed the London Overground routes and split it up into 6 individual ones. And the Goblin line is now going to be known as the Suffragette line. But I think those of you in the train community will always probably refer to this as the Goblin line. And of course, this route will come with the ultra-modern Class 710 Aventra. It does really give me some kind of vibes of the Class 700 with the ultra-modern cab, the wide-open gangways in the interior as well. So, and I have to say the interior looks very nice, seeing the Transport for London or the tube lines, seeing what the service in there, sort of services are like, but sadly, we're not going to get any auto announcements, which I really would like to see come into the dovetail routes now, especially as the likes of Rivet have successfully implemented it on a couple of routes. Let's talk about the timetable, layers and scenarios that you can expect to see on this route. Typically, there's 4 trains per hour running between Gospel Oak and Barking Riverside, meaning there's 154 playable service with the 710, and amongst a total of 1,000 services when factoring in AI and layers. Now, that's pretty impressive, I have to say. In terms of the layers, actually, there's some pretty neat layers that you'll be able to see along the way. You'll get the Class 66 and the FKA wagons from East Coast Main Line. Those will layer in as well. You'll also get the railhead treatment train as well, plus some diesel and steam rail tours. But very, very, the thing for me that is probably the neatest one is between Crouch and Haringey, where the East Coast Main Line crosses over the Goblin line. You'll be able to see either the 801, the Class 801 LNER Azuma, or the 700 as well. So that's pretty sort of nice little touch as well. And you'll probably notice the difference between, I guess, 154 playable services with the 710 versus up to 1,000 in total on the route. And that's majority of that is where you've got other London Overground services utilising parts of the route that don't necessarily actually run over and under, rather than actually running on the Goblin line. So I think it will feel like a nice busy route, which is absolutely perfect and what I'd like to see. The scenarios are centered around special events apparently, so that'll be either Halloween, bonfire night, busy football fixtures, or weather related disruption. So I think they should give a good bit of variety as well. As I said, the Goblin line, or Suffragette line should I say, is due to release on the 19th of March. It is slightly cheaper than the normal routes at £24.99, €29.99, and $29.99. So a little bit cheaper, I guess, to reflect the shorter route. Typically, where we've seen shorter routes, pretty much the good example I would come up with would be the Glossop line. So not quite as cheap as that, but near enough. So one I'm looking forward to is one I will be picking up. Sadly, there's no pre-order discount as well with this one, and I will be streaming a first look. So if you're interested, do keep an eye out on that one. The next big announcement is one that we found out about at Dovetail Direct, and that is the Fife Circle line being developed by Rivet Games. We've now had it confirmed that this will be coming on the 26th of March, so just a week after the Suffragette or Goblin line. So they're coming thick and fast at us at the moment. This will come with the Class 170, which I'll come on into a little bit more detail in a minute. But let's first have a look at the roadmap. It is 52 miles long, and it contains the full Fife Circle. Starting off at Edinburgh Waverley, making its way obviously all the way up into Markinnock. I'm really looking forward to this route. It was very iconic in Train Simulator Classic, so I'm really hopeful that Rivet have done this route justice. Of course, they are pretty well known for their modelling, less so when it comes to actual development of the locomotive. Let's talk about the Class 170, or better known as the Turbostar. So this is a very common diesel multiple unit that's used all over the UK and serves various different regions. But of course, it still serves the Fife Circle. So these units were produced in the late 1990s and were introduced into the Scottish Rail network over the decade or so. So they're very much a common sight. Obviously, as routes start to get electrified, they're obviously starting to be removed, but the Fife Circle remains very much unelectrified at the moment, so a bit of a mainstay for that route. The 170 will use a auto announcer, which is very, very cool. We first saw the auto announcer with the Class 385 on Edinburgh to Glasgow, but now rather than having to manually press the announcements, it does it automatically, which is absolutely fantastic. So credit to Rivet Games there. That's a neat little addition. You can tell they've really taken some care in producing the 170 and detailing the cab to give that feel of real life. So absolutely, I think credit to them for that. It's very, very well modelled. And I'm sure that we'll see the Class 170 be used in the future, hopefully in various different routes, maybe with different liveries, because it's like I say, it's a mainstay across the UK network. So let's talk a little bit more about the route. Of course, we start off at Edinburgh Waverley, which is the terminus for this route. It runs along a tiny portion of the Edinburgh to Glasgow route before branching off and heading to the Fife Circle. Of course, as you head towards the Fife Circle, you will go across that very iconic Forth Bridge, very much symbolic to the route. And I have to say to Rivet, it absolutely looks fantastic. They've clearly spent a lot of time and effort and have done it justice. I'm sure you'll agree. Absolutely fantastic. It was completed in the 1980s. It's an 8,000 foot web of metalwork, which is it's just a fantastic piece of engineering. The route itself is 52 miles long, as I say, with 20 stations. So I think this is going to offer quite a lot of really interesting gameplay and hopefully a lot of different service patterns as well. At Dovetail Direct, we also found out that the Class 158 will be coming to the Fife Circle in its ScotRail livery. And this is being produced by Skyhook Games. Skyhook developed the Class 158 originally for the Midland Main Line, and I have to say that is actually one of my most favourite locos to drive. It's so well modelled. I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing it on the Fife Circle. Kind of moving to a little bit of the negative side, it is still 4 to 6 months out. I think there's slightly a bit of missed opportunity to release these alongside one another, because that would have just increased the excitement about this route even further. So bit of a missed opportunity, I think, but also exciting that it is coming down the line, but we're going to have to wait a little bit for it. Talking about timetable, layers, and gameplay that we can expect with this route. Of course, the majority of the services will be with the Class 170, as you would expect, and when the 158 also comes along, we'll see that in the timetable as mode as well. Sadly, we don't get any number of services, or we haven't been told the number of services that we can expect to be playable or AI. So I think we'll await that detail, but I'm sure it will be interesting. There'll be 5 scenarios with it. You'll do a photo shoot at Edinburgh Waverley. They'll be boarding a train as a passenger to get another one. A service in the storm, collecting the Class 170 from the depot, and also driving from Dunfermline City to Edinburgh Waverley and emptying bins at the station. So some very different types of scenarios there. In terms of the layers, we will see the Class 385 from Edinburgh to Glasgow layer in, so you'll see those services between Edinburgh Waverley and I guess where they can, obviously we branch off towards the Fife Circle. I'd imagine they'll continue on. So great to see that in the game, but also we'll see the Class 801 Azuma at Edinburgh Waverley, which will make Edinburgh Waverley feel so much busier compared to Edinburgh to Glasgow. I can only pray and hope and ask that Rivet go back to Edinburgh and Glasgow and layer in either the 170 and the 801 because it would make that route just come alive. So I'm praying that it will. There is an absence of any kind of reference to any kind of freight or railhead treatment train or even rail tours. So sadly, we don't know there's still bits of holes that we haven't been told yet. Of course, it is coming on the 26th, so I'd expect to find out about those pretty sharpish. It is available to pre-order now on Steam, which you'll get a 10% discount. This one is the now usual price of £29.99, $35.99 euros, and $39.99. And again, this is one that I will be streaming a first look of on the day of release. So I'm really excited about this, and I hope you are too. Again, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button and also subscribing, and I'll be sure to see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.